Hello, hello. Welcome to our TED Uno movie class. It will be movie class about the movie Ender's Game. And let's start from the story. What is about? What has happened in the movie? Jorgen, please tell us.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Humanity is preparing to launch an attack on the Formics, who had attacked the Earth and killed millions 50 years ago. And now gifted children are trained by the International Fleet, and 12-year-old Ender Wiggin draws the attention of Colonel Hiram Graf and Major Gwen Anderson by his aptitude in simulated space combat. Graf brings Ender to battle school and an orbiting space station in Earth this orbit. The cadets are placed in squads and perform training games in a zero gravity battle room. Ender adapts to the games and devising new strategies. And Bonzo Madrid is his squad leader, and he is bitter and intimidating. Yeah. Bonzo believing that Ender is inept due to his size. He's thin and orders him to stay behind. But when Ender seeing Petra in trouble, Ender comes to her rescue and helps the Salamander army win. Bonzo is now humiliated and threatens Ender. Ender plays a mind game in his computer, and he thinks outside the box to solve a problem. And Graf promotes Ender to his own squad, made from other students that have gained Ender's trust. Bonzo accosts Ender in the bathroom after having lost the game to him, but Ender fights back successfully, but hurt him. Graf takes Ender to humanity's forward base on a former Formic planet near their homeworld. Ender's final test is monitored by several of the fleet commanders. He orders to protect the main ship, and all the fighters to build rings within rings, layers upon layers, in case of being hit. They can act as shield. He managed to make a free pass among the clumped enemy ships and hit their homeworld. And there is a resulting chain reaction, killing the entire population. Problem is, it was not a test, it was reality. He recognized the ruined castle from the game they were trying to maybe they were trying to communicate. He encounters a dying Formic queen. The queen egg form a new. He decides to form a new Formic colony with his own ship as promoted admiral.
I see. Nice. Very good. Very good. So we have a summary of the movie now, but I think we can add many details to that, right?
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. What do we know about those Formics, those aliens? Why they attacked our yours and so on? What do we know? Vasans, can you answer this?
No, all I know about is aliens were attacking, and the human couldn't understand what is the purpose of their attack. So I watched only a half of the movie, so I don't. Maybe they might have said what is the motive of the aliens in the second half of the movie. So anybody else can help me?
Well, in the movie, they mentioned once water, right? Like resources, and they mentioned once that they are going to colonize other planets. So we just the yours not like the primary goal or something like that, just one of many others, something like that. But they probably did not expect that humankind is here, and that's why battle started, right?
Yeah. Let me mention something that was a motivation for Ender. When he learned that the Formics attacked Earth 50 years ago for water, and they found us there, and there was a battle, and they were repulsed and sent back home, he was asking his commander, why didn't they attack again in that 50 years? So Ender was thinking they came to our planet to get the water, found us living there, they were pushed back, and they weren't going to attack again. That was Ender's thinking. So he was feeling like we wiped them out without trying to communicate with them. They may not have been our enemy at all. So that's why he felt such guilt. He wanted to talk to them, but Harrison Ford said, no, we need to wipe them out, kill them all so they can never threaten us again. So that was the mental conflict that Ender was going through.
Right. And do we have in the movie some, I don't know, points support those ideas? So do we have some proof that they will attack again or no? I just cannot say who is right in this argument.
The only event that I would say that would indicate they're not our enemy specifically is at the end when he confronted the Formic alien. The alien could have killed him. This alien knew that he had wiped out their home world. So that's really going to piss you off, right? And yet he didn't resist when she was going to kill him, and she didn't kill him. So that tells me that they were intelligent, they were compassionate, and maybe they weren't really our enemy at all. You know, they were just trying to survive, and we got, a conflict unintentionally, and they didn't come back. So,
right. So, they are not. We can consider that they are not our enemy. Just there was a conflict of interest of resource, right? And after humankind wipes them out, as we said, right? It's solved. After that point, we can try to communicate and do something like, I don't know, something else. But we are humankind, right? So we think only about war. Okay, so answering the questions, Formix, are they good or bad? What do we think? We don't know exactly, right? But probably bad because they have a history, right? They killed 10 millions or something like that, millions of people. Okay, so at least we can claim for revenge or something like this.
Yeah, I would say they did have a large military fleet.
Mhm.
So that fact alone could indicate they were somewhat militaristic.
Right. Okay, another question. It's my question, and I don't understand it clearly from the movie. So why humankind should or have to use children? Why they cannot, I don't know, have military like in normal way as we always do?
Because they have more intuition, I think.
So
Yeah, they said the kids had more intuition, decisiveness, and fearless. Those were the three reasons that Harrison Ford said they used children. And I think the reason is if you look at the battles, they happen fast, right? I mean, there's just thousands and thousands of ships going all over the place. An adult that's trained in the conventional way to fight can't react quick enough to respond to that kind of a battle. But kids, they grow up with their little games and they do things quick and fast. So they're more do things intuitively, decisively, without fear. So I think he was saying that kids, because of their youth and their mind being young and their adaptability and their experience with games like that, they were more able to do a computerized type battle that changes quickly.
Right. Good answer. Anything else? Anyone else want to add something?
Yeah, I think those battles were like video games. So that the final battle is like a video game. So in a video game, you don't care about make sacrifices. If you sacrifice someone, doesn't matter because the thing that only matters is you winning.
Right. It's like you playing chess, right? When you do gambit, you don't care about pawn, right?
Because there are no persons.
Yeah.
Well, also, I just mentioned also when the fact that kids are young. Okay, if you think about the draft, when we force people to join the military, we don't grab 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds. We grab 18-year-olds, right? Young kids, because they think they're invincible. They think they just can't lose, and they're willing to follow orders and to die, for the greater good. So whereas an old person's going to say, do I want to kill myself to do this order? Is this mission worth my life? So young kids are more responsive and fast acting compared to older people that are more cautious.
Once I read an article in some periodic, I forgot where exactly. In Russia, there were a discussion which age is appropriate to draft people to military, which is the best, right? It was a not easy discussion because some people say yes, 18 is a good age. They are healthy. They think they're invincible, but problem is that they are stupid and this bullying, right? How pronounce bullying? In the army, they bully each other, and it became a conflicts, problems, and so on. So, and military officers are not really happy about that. So it's just their problem, and they asked it to have. They wanted to have like more seasoned people, like 20 something. But problem is that society in Russia not ready to give 20 something people to military because it's too late. They already have families, professions. They need it in the society. So we just cannot. And my answer to this question, why children? Why exactly children? I think it's because adults in this society on the earth just cannot solve this problem. It's too fast, as Teacher Lee mentioned. We are not prepared. So what can we do? We have no chances that we can train an adult man to handle that. So at least we can try to do that with young people, because they are like sponges. They adapt fast. They learn fast. So it's it's the only hope for humankind.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's clear. So, next question. Why Ender? What makes him so special? I think it's a very wide question, very broad question, but let's point some, I don't know, features or something. Sergey, have you chance to watch the movie?
Yes, I watched.
So what do you think?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
I think about the sender during the movie. Harrison Ford told us that the Ender is very good strategic man, and he thought about strategic, not tactic, and he can to kill something for achievement the good goal.
Mm-hmm.
It is a good skill for commander, for admiral.
Commander, okay. So you mean it's probably you're talking about sacrifice, right? About so he can sacrifice something to bigger goal or something, right?
Yep.
Okay. So kind of strategist, right? What else?
I think this sacrifice is the core of the movie, you know, because also when they are doing these drills in the zero gravity room, you know, winning the battle is based in sacrificing people or so the other colleagues. But that's because they know they are not going to die. So I think it's a little bit fake. So because you base that, but then the general Harrison Ford deceives Ender by, you know, so he doesn't know that he's going to sacrifice some people, some aircrafts. So I think it's the center of the movie, the sacrifice, but also deceiving.
Right, and it's partially explain our previous question: why children? Because children don't care about this sacrifice, right? they don't feel love so much yet, and so on. Teacher Lee, please.
Yeah, they're not as conscious of all the loss involved in family and friends and jobs and education. His brother, remember, he was the third child, and it seems like normally families only have 2 children. So the fact that he was a third child was unusual. And his brother made fun of him. Oh, you're the third child. You're not supposed to get anything. You're the last one. You know, you think you're special, but you shouldn't even be here. And his brother had gone to the same training and failed and got kicked out because he was too violent. So that's why they were watching Ender very carefully, psychologically, to measure his violent tendencies. Because if he was too violent like his brother was, then he would become reckless and waste lives, and he was not what they wanted. So that's why Ford was very interested in why Ender would kick someone many times after he beat him up. Was that his brother's violence and hatred and uncontrollable rage, or did it have a purpose?
Mm-hmm.
And when Ender explained, I'm violent like that because I'm not just stopping this one attack, I want to stop all future attacks. So that meant that there was a reason for his violence, and that's why they kept him in the program. So I think that's why his training was all this psychological monitoring with the metal in their neck. They're making sure that the person is violent enough, but not uncontrollably violent. The violence needs to have a purpose and a focus and a strategy. And that's why Ender was special. He was one of the few that had the strategy, the tactics, the violence, and yet the control. So that's why he was better than most of the students. Many before him had tried to remember and failed. He was not the first one to attack the home planet. He found out other people had gotten to that stage and they all failed.
Mhm.
So that's why Ender was their last choice. They had no time left. It was either Ender or they were doomed. So that was kind of what made him special.
Right. So unique set of these features, right? Good balance between all these things. You are violent, you can kill, but you not going too far and so on, right?
Right.
And speaking about this monitoring device, I don't know how to call it, monitoring device on his neck, looks like it was extracted, right? But was it fake extraction or somehow? I don't understand it. Because I understand that they were monitoring him in the beginning. Then they extract this device, but they continue to monitor him somehow when he played some video games or something.
Okay.
I did
The
not
way
get
that
it.
works, okay, the training program has two phases. That first part where you're monitored with the link, they can see what you see and hear what you hear. So they're in your head with you. That's like boot camp. That's the initial screening. If you pass that phase, well, when you finish that phase, if you fail, they take the link out and you're gone. Now, even if you pass, they still take the link out to see how you react. If you react, violently or get depressed and moody or something like that, you still fail. But if you accept that rejection and you really passed, then they leave it out because you've earned what they called your right to privacy. Remember the privacy thing? Okay. So that was kind of in the first phase, everyone's monitored, but when you pass that phase, then they take it out anyway.
Right.
And after that, they just trust you.
Well, so looks like they have a lot of tricks inside this train camp. So they probably developed it to find the proper guy, right? So, and everything in this camp serves some goal, right? Some they like check you all the time, right? How you react to that, to this one, to this situation, and it's interesting. It's what we have really in our lives in some extent. But let's discuss it a little bit. So, what really they check? Why there is so many bullying in this camp, or how to call it, training camp? And I don't really understand about this gravity games, zero gravity games. So, what they're starting to check in those games? Any answers? Maybe Vasans, have you watched this zero gravity like team games?
Yes.
And what do you think? For what those games took place?
Maybe they mentioned one particular thing in their class about how to slingshot through a gravitational force when some object is blocking your way, and how would you attack a person beyond that blockage. Then I think in this zero gravitational game, they placed such situations there. They blocked their way, and they used that trick to observe how do they respond in such situation. Maybe it might be a reason to train them in surreal situations to respond. Yeah.
Okay, Sergey, please.
I want to talk about this gravity games, and I saw that these gravity games doesn't have continued in this plot, and I saw that's the problem of screenwriter, and because we watched the movie about children for children, And this is a very interesting part of this movie, where they have the guns and they shoot
Okay.
each other.
So your point is it's just for having a good show, right? It's a good
Yeah,
scenery. Okay.
because in the future they will use special devices like a fly.
Okay. Yeah. Gerard, please.
I think the key of these drills in the zero gravity room is in to make them aware that making sacrifices is necessary, because when they are outside they are slow, they are they are an easy target. The only way to win those games is make some chills with other people. So it's the only way to win those games.
I see.
So they
So-
want to instill them this a spirit of sacrifice, that we have to make some sacrifices to win, and they want that they are not afraid to do that.
So your point is like a like what simulation of some processes that will teach you real like tactics and strategy, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Teacher Lee?
Just like you said in chess, you have to learn to sacrifice pieces, but still have enough pieces left to win. I think it had a lot of purposes. It was testing your mental adaptability, your ability to assess the situation and devise a strategy for that specific situation. For example, remember they woke him up in the middle of the night and said, go to the battle room. We're going to have a simulation. They got there and they found out instead of the other team was already inside. Whoa, wait a minute. They've had time to get in there and get in position to ambush us. Whoa, that's different. That's new rules. And then they said, there's going to be 2 teams in there. Whoa. So they're checking his ability to think quickly for changing situations and to immediately come up with some strategy to assess and win. And he did that, as you said, by sacrificing pieces to see where they were. Oh, there's a bunch of them up there and there's a bunch of them over there. Okay, so now this is what we're going to do. First, we kill these guys. So he had a little strategy to shoot those guys. And then he had another strategy to get the other guys. So it's to make you think on your feet, I think, and to recognize that the rules can change. So I kind of enjoyed those games.
Well, it's like it seems good, right? It's a good scenery, those games. It's a good show, I would say, and it's interesting to watch, right? But I understand Sergei's points as well. So they are not going to attack those aliens like Starship Troopers, right? So why it's not supposed to be, I don't know, this feasting, how to say it, this wrestling in the space, right? So why to have this drill? It's not clear. But as I see now, our like common, what to say it, common understanding is that we think it's just to train you another skills, right? Another tactic and strategic skills. Right. Gerard, please.
They could have played video games, because also all the time we're talking about video games and everything is like a video game. But I think in this way, playing with the real comrades, the other soldiers, it makes more real that there are human lives at stake.
Right. Good point. Sergei, please.
I saw that this movie like Harry Potter, and this movie and the Harry Potter we have several tycoons, and the one characters with the special skills and the special games like Quidditch and these gravity games and the big bad characters. It's my opinion.
Okay.
I think one more thing about the games was the setup. The goal is to get to the enemy's gate. So to me, that's the home planet. And between you and the home planet, you've got the defenders which is the alien fleet. So it's also how can you devise some trick to get past the defenses to get to the home planet. So there's some of that in there too on a strategic level, you know, diversions or the bubble shield where they can kill the people on the outside, but the people on the inside can get to the home planet, which is actually the strategy he used at the end, right?
Yeah.
He had a bunch of ships around him and they're getting slaughtered right and left, dying by the thousands, and he's driving straight toward the enemy's gate.
And
So he left his carriers undefended, and all those people got wiped out. No defense because the mission. In real life, he wouldn't have done that, but in a game, he was willing to do that.
right.
And that's why they had to trick him.
Right. And I just thought about another aspect. You know, cybersport exist now. So officially we have some cybersport when people play video games and call this sport, right? It's like some shooters or some strategic games and so on. And once I read an article about that, and it was interesting because I did not expect that those gamers do some push-ups and other physical activities just to be better at the game, just to be distracted, to be in good physical form, and so on. So I think it's kind of a part of this movie too. So what is the war for them? They just playing video games, right? But to be more accurate, more in better physical conditions, they need some exercises as well. And this zero gravity games looks good for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we answered this one. So let's talk about this bullying. I don't know how to pronounce it. Bullying in this camp. In the movie. In the movie, we have like 3 or more episodes of this bullying, right? And it's kind of what it tells us. Why it's important. So do you understand what episodes we talking about? Yeah?
Yes.
So this sergeant thing and all this.
I remember the one type of bullying in my daughter classes when several children beating one big boy. It's very strange for me because this is a girl. It's not boy. It's one bullying. And if you talk about this movie, we could see not typical type of bullying because one small boy beating other very strong men, and it's a strange for me. It's a fairy tale, and it's not a real life.
Okay, and we know that you are expert in bullying, right? Okay. So really, what those episodes adds to our story? What can we learn from these episodes, Gerard?
No, I think that bullying is something different than usual bullying because it's a question of competition. Like, two males, the animals, they fight each other to get the first position, and something like this.
Right.
So this guy Bonzo was envious of Ender's skills, and he didn't want to lose his leadership of the team.
Right. So usually we have such type of bullying in like collectives with male, I don't know, in army or in sport or somewhere. So boys tend to build a hierarchy, right? Who is the first one? Who is the second one? Alpha, beta, all these things.
Yeah.
Sergey, please.
I want to talk about the army, as about the bullying. I used to in the Russian army, and I saw a lot of type of bullying, and the other story about managing the big group, the one people, when you told the big groups make the stupid things. For example, you must sing the cubic snow and the cubic bed and a lot of stupid things for grown-ups. without resistance future thing from your commanders.
So
And
you make people do stupid things just to enforce, like, I don't know what, your power, your authority, right?
Yeah, when they have the rally boy
Fist fight maybe, or real action, I don't know.
when they have the real action with the Ellen, they make all words your commander without resistance. It's a very important in the army.
Okay.
In this movie, one the own characters resistant other words of your commanders. It's a stranger for me.
Okay, but I think you don't actually speak about bullying. You speak about like a chain of commands or something like that. So it must be done immediately without questioning at this moment and so on, right?
But it's a part of the one chain. When they war, this is your special one. They provocate this type of bullying from other people.
Teacher Lee, sorry, I missed you.
That's okay. Let me see what my train of thought was. Oh, bullying. Okay. Another thing that he was successful at, Ender was bullies always come at you in a group. You know, he's got 2 or 3 buddies with him, and 3 of them beating you up, you're going to lose. So Ender was always careful to shame the bully by saying, does it take 3 of you to beat me up? I'll fight you alone. So he was always a little bit tactical in one-on-one so that he wouldn't lose. So he would shame the bully into not outnumbering him, you know.
Yeah, we have some motto like divide and conquer or something like this, right?
Yeah, divide and conquer. Yeah.
Divide and conquer. So make them apart first and then kill one by one.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, what about the story with killing the guy? Was this guy killed? I don't know. His sergeant, what is his name? Bonzo or something. I didn't get it. So they have a fight, and unintentionally, he got paralyzed or killed or something else.
I got the impression that he was basically brain dead.
So it's kind of, I don't know why we need that in this story to show what.
I think it's another. Well, it was an accident, but how Ender responded to it was a psychological test. You know, if you're going to become so guilt-ridden that you can't function, I quit. I can't let people die. You know, so I think it turned out being a psychological test.
But he almost quit the training, right? Because of that. Yeah,
he quit. Okay. And his sister convinced him to go back.
I'm trying to understand what's that of the whole situation tell us about his personality. Is it makes him better for the mission, or vice versa worse? I don't. I'm trying to like packet it into the story, to the whole story.
Well, I think it's like Sergey was talking about. He doesn't obey without question. He stops and says, wait a minute, that's an illegal order. Or this is not reasonable. I cannot in good conscience do this order. So he kind of resisted orders. If he didn't like the order, he would tell you, why are you making me sit here and do nothing? That's a waste of resources. That's a stupid order. So he did question authority, which in general is not good. But if your supervisor's making a big mistake, like Trump says, push the nuclear button, you want someone to say, wait a minute.
Right.
You know,
let's check it.
Yeah, it's good and bad.
Right. And Gerard, please.
Yeah, curious thing that humans we tend to feel empathy with species that are intelligent. You know, for instance, we feel more empathy for dolphins rather than ants. So killing dolphins because they're intelligent, and so we feel more guilty usually. Except Japanese people, I think. Japanese hunters.
Right. So I forgot. I wanted to add something, but forgot. But I think military service it's kind of hard at that point. At the same time, we want from the same man two opposite things. We want him obey immediately, and we want him obey only good orders.
Right.
So we will blame him or her if he, I don't know, hesitated, and we will blame him if he like makes something worse, right? So
Right.
it's what makes, in my opinion, it's what makes this surf very like hard. And I don't know. As Sergey mentioned, in Russia we try to solve it like in a Boolean manner, just obey, like that. Okay, speaking about this colonel, I forgot his name, but the one who killed, the one who saved the day, right? The 50 years ago.
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley, yeah, but I don't know, Colonel Samson. And why they hide him? What is with his face and all these things? Let's speak about him.
Mazer Ratka.
Vasans, have you watched? You stopped to watch movie at that moment, right? When
Yes, I stopped it.
okay, his isolation can never be broken. It's written by Jorgen. What does it mean?
It's about Endor. They say he must. The Harrison Ford says he has a complicated response to authority, and he said his isolation can never be broken.
Sure, please.
Another thing related to sacrifice. So the key to win the first battle was the sacrifice of this guy, as Mace Rathcon. So he sacrificed himself. So everybody thinks he sacrificed himself, but he actually ejected his seat and he is safe. But maybe they want to everybody believe that the sacrifice was real, you know? And you know that the plot of the movie spins around the sacrifice topic. So
a good point, yeah.
Well, it's a good point, but I have problem with that, you know. What kind of problem? When we discussed why we choose children for that question, for that mission, my understanding was we got children because we don't understand what exactly our mission is. So we need to adapt them. We need them to find a new solution, to find a way. So we don't know exactly what have we solved, but from this sacrificing point and all these things, looks like, you know, management already knows what kind of personnel we need. So they already solved this and now just train them. So I find it kind of controversial, you
know. There's a couple aspects we could look at. I didn't really understand his background and where he was from and the tattoo. I didn't really understand that part, but in the video, the inspirational video to sacrifice yourself for the greater mission, it looked like that guy knew exactly what he was doing. Blow up, and he wins. But really, when Ender started questioning him, he found out the guy didn't really know how to win, and he, by luck, saw a pattern and realized this one big ship was in the middle. And he just guessed that was the Queen ship. And he got lucky by winning that battle. So maybe by having him die, no one could question him and find out that really Earth won by luck rather than by a sacrifice of a martyr, you know. So, you know, I don't know. It's a mind game.
Right. Well, okay, and about this tattoo, he said it's a Maori thing because my father was a Maori, and I know from some, I don't know, I read somewhere that Maori is somewhere in New Zealand or something like this, right?
I think the Aborigines, yeah.
Okay, so it's another way to show us diversity in Hollywood movie, right? Okay, I think we have really few time, so I'm going to.
I want to mention one more point.
Please.
Harrison Ford and the black woman. They were what I would call foils. They were in conflict with each other, right?
Mhm.
She represented the human, caring, emotional part. I'm worried what it'll do to Ender. He's got his whole life ahead of him. Harrison Ford doesn't care about the human. He cares about the mission. If we save the kid and the whole human race dies, what good is that? So they were always at a counterpoint. And I think that was another interesting aspect of the movie. Ford wanted to keep the kid isolated, which meant not too emotionally attached to people, so that he wouldn't let pity or feeling sorry prevent him from doing the mission. So that was another aspect of the movie, I think.
Right. So a lot of psycho games, right? In this movie. Okay, and I started to share this our slides from the movie. So I think we can recognize everyone here. Right, and this Maori thing, what we talking about. Okay, and I kind of like this type of tattoo. Maybe one day I will try. Okay, I think we already covered this background, right? More or less. Okay, so let's start from these pictures. Sergey, can you start it, please, if you can see?
Okay, and we can porch swing. I don't understand what is a porch swing. Maybe this is a plank for the...
It's a bench that hangs on chains, and you can sit in it and swing. So it's a swinging bench.
Yep. You have that on your summer house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wooden shutters.
If we have a hurricane or a storm, the shutters can close and cover the windows.
Yeah, it's a fancy way to save your window, right?
Right. Usually they're fake in America. They're just for looks. Okay.
Front steps with flared handrails.
Flared handrails, right?
Flared means it goes out at the end.
So it's like a conus, right?
Curve, yeah. Curves out this flare.
Side panels. This is a window for between doors and the wheel.
To see who's outside before you open the door.
We don't use the design in my place. We have like
the
people. Yeah.
We in the Russia we try to cover all house.
Right. With two doors, yes.
Yeah, because you could break the glass, reach in, and unlock the door.
Yeah. But mainly problem in Russia, not about this burglars or something. Problem in the cold, So we have a corridor with two doors, and we don't trust all these fancy windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I like this transom thing. It's above the if I understand, it's a way to make light to go inside, right?
Yeah. Just a lighting. Yeah.
Knocker or doorbell.
Doorbell.
Doorbell. Front porch.
Pom, pom.
Yes. Realistic.
A doorbell is a button. You push it and it goes ding dong. A knocker is a piece of metal that you lift up and hit down, like bam, bam, bam. So there's two kinds you might see.
And I think that knocker is kind of will work without electricity, right? So it's
Right. Just mechanical.
Bushes.
Bushes, yeah. It's kind of trees, small trees, right?
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of things here, Just ordinary porch, but many things. Okay, next one, Gerard, please.
That's I think the spaceship that brings the shuttle. I would say, I think the shuttle, because brings people from Earth to the spaceships that travel to foreign planets, and there is a safety harness to keep the soldiers attached to their seats, a safety net behind them, and there is no much. There is a monitor, someone here, controlling them, but there's no much in this picture to talk about. All of them are dressed in yellow. How do you call overall?
Coveralls, yep. Overalls or coveralls, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's it. Nothing more.
And what's the reason to have this training camp in the space? Only the zero gravity games? That's all?
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Well, looks like expensive.
and isolation. Remember, they don't want them to email their parents and get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So isolation too, probably.
Okay, next one looks like a school class or something. Jorgen, please describe it.
They are discussing the last war, and the technology is very advanced here. And I don't know what ship schematics. Yeah, okay.
Schematic is like a detailed drawing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Can you say blueprint for that? No?
Yeah, like a blueprint, yes.
Okay. Schematic. So they kind of learn things about aliens ships, right? Where to shoot or something like this. How it works.
Right.
Okay. And it's not a hologram, right? It's just a screen or something.
Yeah, just a flat screen. It looks holographic, but it's really two-dimensional. So I was going to call it a hologram at first, and then I said, well, really, it's 2 dimensions. So I called it a projector screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Oh, good one. Vasants, please.
This is a zero gravity battle room where the students play zero gravitational game, and there was some metal that is to support the structure, and polyhedrons used for cover. Maybe it might be used to relax or something, to get to grab something and move again. And there is an enemy's gate, and it flares. Do they use lightings, or it's just any radium kind of material on that polyhedrons?
Those might be multi-surface, so you can push off at different angles. I'm not sure, but I think those are surfaces. You can use it for protection and for pushing off in a different direction.
Yeah, but I think mostly they need some structures, like obstacles or something to hide, to make a, I don't know, relief, because without these things it will be just a space. how you
Yeah.
are going to practice your tactics in just a space.
Exactly. So those might be moons or asteroid rocks that you can hide behind, you know.
Okay, that is dining table. Let me describe it. And overhead display screens. Even during the lunch, they have to learn, right? It never stops. And what is interesting that they have different uniform, orange and blue, but maybe it's because of different squads, right?
I think the yellow is the new students, the freshmen,
Okay.
and the blue is the senior people.
Okay.
Because they all wore yellow when they began, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, vents or grates, it's for fresh air, right? And
Yeah.
louvers doesn't seem like English word to me.
Yeah, louvers are adjustable vents. You can close them or open them.
Okay, louvers. Dining table, pretty ascetic, right? Made from metal.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing fancy here. Looks like
Not much. In the military, we call it the mess hall. We eat in the mess hall. That's a military word.
Mess hall, but it's not appropriate for school, right? Mess
right. School's cafeteria.
Cafeteria. Okay. Okay. Another one. Sergey, please.
Okay. Guiding beacon lights. Beacon.
Pipes.
Pipes. Control panel. Drag bar. Hall light. Indicating lights. Warp drill.
So indicating lights, they like show you something, some information, right? It's a sector 4, for instance, or something like this.
Well, it might be, you know, pressurized or power available, energized, some status light for some piece of equipment.
And guiding beacon light, it's means that I saw in some places we have like, you know, different stripes like red and green, and someone person will say you like follow green and you follow it and you go to the destination, to the right destination.
Right, and if you remember when they told them to follow the green lights, these lights were like sequenced on, and it was pointing the way to which corridors to take.
Right.
So very that's good. Why I call them guiding lights.
Yeah, it's very good solution. It's prevent you to stop here and get lost, right? And asking people where to go.
Right.
Just use the slides. Okay, more interesting one. Gerard, please.
Okay. So we can see a screen here, like the one that we saw before. Okay, that's the simulation of the battle. In theory, it was a simulation, but it was the real.
This wasn't a. Yeah, this was real.
It was real at the end. So Ender thought that was a simulation. He was playing like it was a simulation.
No, this is where Harrison Ford is doing a status check. His fleet is moving towards the home planet right now. So he brings this up to see how many days before they arrive. So T-minus, they're going to arrive at the home planet in 28 days. So he's got 28 days to get Ender ready for battle. That's why the time ran out at the end. They said, Ender, you're not the first one to get here, but you're going to be the last one because we're at the planet now and we're going to do battle and you're it. So this was real. This was a deadline they had to meet.
So it's curious. Didn't you answer to yourself how they know, what the Formics are going to do? You know, that they're going back to the planet and the days and everything. It's curious. How can do that?
I know they beat you real bad 50 years ago, and here you're going to their home planet, which is their strongest defense, hoping you can beat them. Revenge.
Yeah. Okay, so T minus. It's a nice word. So it's a countdown, right? It's a duration. So
Right.
ETA, or how we pronounce it? It's a exact time, like, right?
ETA, estimated time of arrival.
Mm-hmm. So ETA, it's a certain time, like I don't know, June 1st, 6 a.m., right?
Right.
And the difference between T minus, that T minus, it's not a time, it's a duration. Time minus,
Right.
it's 2 days, and that's all, right? So that is the difference.
If you've ever watched rocket launches, they'll say T minus 10, 9, 8.
Right. Actually, I heard it many times, but never understood. Understood before.
T is time. Time is the time. So time minus 1 minute means you're 1 minute from the time.
Right. Very
So
nice.
time minus. Okay.
Very nice. Okay, last one. Jürgen, please describe this one.
Ender's new quarters as Dragon Commander. There is an observation port. The color of the bank is gray, and there is a pillow and a wool blanket, and the lights are fluorescent.
Right, and it looks all pretty aesthetic, right? Spartan quarters, yes, not much, but I like the view, and
Nice
from
view.
the window, yeah, I would buy that just to watch. And what kind of planet we have there?
Yeah, I think that's the Earth right here.
Looks so.
Bunk is a military word for your bed. We don't call it your bed. We call it your bunk.
And I can remember I watched somewhere 2 desk bunks or something like this, right? It's people, yeah. Right.
Bunks can be stacked.
Stacked, okay.
We call them bunk beds.
Okay, so our time is over, so let's stop on this one, but I will share the link for other sites, for the rest of the slides. And we have a few there. Well, we have a lot of them, I see. Okay, last one, let me see. Oh, this one. Vasants, can you please read, describe that? I know you haven't watched the movie, so it's the last living animal, queen of this Formix.
Okay, but it already appeared in his dream, in his game, I think. This
Okay.
creature.
That was another mind game. It was communicating with him mentally, yeah.
And it has a bony head formation and had multiple eyes and exoskeleton and feelers. It might to sense something, I think. Okay, and mandibles, jaws. Okay.
And we kind of have this vocabulary partially covered from our previous movie, right? From Starship Troopers. Looks like, humans always envision aliens in the same way. Like ants and so on.
Right.
Okay, I'm stopping this broadcasting, this screen share. And thank you very much. I didn't like this movie for the beginning. It seems like strange at the beginning, but I did like after, because I see that there are a lot of points to think about.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it at our class as well. Your suggestions about next movies are welcome. Please share in our chat. And thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.